chosen one. Something has been preparing you for a long time, and today the reason behind it is starting to become clear. There's something I want to say to you slowly, because the kind of message you're carrying right now isn't loud or dramatic. It's quiet, and it asks to be felt more than explained. You may not have heard words like this before, not in the way they arrive inside you now, because the voice guiding you lately hasn't been shouting or demanding anything from you. It has been softer than that, almost like a gentle realization forming in the background of your life. The kind that doesn't force you to change, but somehow invites you to become more honest with yourself. And if you've been feeling tired lately, not just physically but emotionally, like you've been walking through an invisible transition that no one else quite understands, then you already know that this moment isn't about becoming someone powerful in the eyes of others. It's about becoming more real within yourself. Sometimes growth begins in a way that almost feels confusing at first. You notice that certain reactions you once had no longer feel right in your body, and situations that used to pull you into arguments, explanations, or emotional battles now leave you strangely quiet instead. It's not that you suddenly stopped caring about life or about people, but something inside you started asking a deeper question. Is every reaction really necessary? Or have you been carrying habits that no longer belong to the person you're becoming? And somewhere along the way, maybe without announcing it to anyone, you began letting go of the need to respond to everything. When did you start noticing the shift? Maybe it appeared in small moments, the kind that would have gone unnoticed before. A conversation where you chose silence instead of proving your point. A misunderstanding that you allowed to exist without exhausting yourself trying to fix it. A moment when someone expected the old version of you to appear, but instead they were met with someone calmer, someone who no longer felt the same urgency to defend, explain, or react. At first, that change can feel lonely, because people are used to the version of you that reacted quickly, the version that tried to hold everything together or make everyone understand your intentions. When that version begins to fade, some people may not recognize you the same way anymore. They may think you've become distant or that you've changed in ways they can't quite name. But the truth is, what they're seeing isn't distance. It's growth learning how to breathe. There's a quiet strength that begins forming when you stop needing every situation to end with your voice being heard. It's the kind of strength that doesn't rush to fill silence, and it doesn't panic when others misunderstand you. Instead, it allows space for emotions to settle, space for truth to reveal itself without force, space for you to notice your own inner world in a way you may never have had time to before. And this is where something beautiful begins to unfold, because emotional growth rarely feels like a victory. Most of the time, it feels like release. It feels like putting down reactions you once believed were necessary for survival, and realizing that you're still standing even without them. You begin noticing how much energy you once spent trying to control outcomes, manage other people's perceptions, or protect yourself from being misunderstood. And slowly, almost gently, you stop carrying that weight. When did peace become more important than proving yourself? For some people, that realization arrives after years of emotional exhaustion. For others, it appears quietly during a single moment when you recognize that winning an argument doesn't always mean protecting your peace. And once you see that clearly, something inside you begins rearranging itself. You start choosing calm even when others expect intensity. You start stepping back from situations that once pulled you in emotionally. And perhaps the most surprising part is that you're not doing it to appear strong. You're doing it because something inside you finally understands that strength isn't loud. Real strength often looks like restraint. It looks like awareness. It looks like noticing your emotions rising and choosing not to let them carry you somewhere you no longer want to go. This kind of transformation doesn't happen all at once. It unfolds quietly, sometimes so slowly that you only notice it when you look back and realize how differently you respond to the world now. Situations that once consumed your thoughts for days now pass through your mind like clouds moving across the sky. You still feel things deeply, but you're no longer drowning in those feelings. Instead, you're learning to sit with them, understand them, and let them pass without turning them into battles you have to fight. And this is where the message many people spend years searching for finally becomes clear. You were never meant to become someone harder. You were meant to become someone more aware, because awareness changes everything. It allows you to see the patterns you once lived inside without questioning them. It helps you recognize when an old version of yourself is trying to return out of habit, even though you've already grown beyond it. And when that happens, you're given a quiet choice. You can step back into the old reaction, or you can stay present in the new awareness that is slowly shaping who you are becoming. Most people don't talk about how emotional growth can feel like losing parts of yourself. Not the parts that were unhealthy, but the familiar ones. The habits that once defined how you navigated the world. The ways you used to protect yourself, defend yourself, or explain yourself endlessly to people who were never really listening. Outgrowing those patterns can feel like stepping into unfamiliar ground. But it's also where your life begins to feel lighter. Because every reaction you release creates a little more space inside you. Every moment of awareness gives you a little more freedom. And every quiet decision to choose peace over proving yourself becomes another step into a version of strength that doesn't need recognition to exist. You may not even realize how much you've already changed. But somewhere along the way, the person you used to be began softening into someone more grounded, someone more patient with life, someone who no longer needs every situation to confirm their worth. And maybe the words you've been waiting to hear were never meant to come from outside voices. Maybe they were meant to arrive quietly within you, forming slowly as you learn to listen to your own awareness, until one day you realize that the voice guiding you now sounds calmer, wiser, and strangely familiar, as if it had always been there, patiently waiting for the moment you were finally ready to hear it. If these words feel like they were meant to find you at the right moment, you may gently subscribe to Born into Light. And like this video, so more hearts can receive the same quiet reminder. And if this message resonates with you, you might leave the words "I hear you" in the comments below as a small reflection of the connection you're feeling right now. And maybe that's the part that feels so surprising now. The realization that the guidance you kept searching for outside of yourself has been unfolding quietly within you this entire time. Not as a loud command telling you exactly what to do next, but as a steady awareness that gently nudges you toward honesty, toward patience, toward a way of living that feels calmer than the constant emotional storms you once thought were unavoidable. It doesn't push you into dramatic decisions or demand immediate change. It simply invites you to pause, to notice your reactions before they take over, and to choose the response that leaves your inner world feeling more peaceful afterward. That kind of awareness changes how you experience life in ways that are almost invisible at first. You begin noticing the small spaces between things, the moment between a comment and your response, the quiet breath between frustration and understanding, the pause where you suddenly realize that you don't actually need to carry a situation any further than it has already gone. These pauses may seem small, but they hold something powerful inside them, because they are the places where your old patterns slowly lose their grip, and a calmer version of you begins to take their place. And sometimes you might even wonder if people notice the difference. Maybe some do, maybe some don't. But the deeper truth is that this change was never really about being seen by others. It was about becoming more at home within yourself. There is a kind of emotional freedom that begins to grow when you stop measuring your peace against other people's reactions. When someone misunderstands you, you no longer feel the same urgency to correct every assumption. When tension appears in a conversation, you don't immediately feel responsible for dissolving it. And when life brings moments of uncertainty, you find yourself responding with patience instead of the restless need to control what happens next. None of this happens because you suddenly became indifferent. It happens because you became aware of how much energy you once spent carrying things that were never yours to carry, aware of how often your reactions were shaped by old fears rather than present truth, and aware that peace isn't something you achieve by fixing every external situation. It's something that quietly grows when you stop fighting every internal one. And maybe that's the message that has been forming within you all along. Not a message about becoming more important or more powerful than anyone else, but a message about becoming more aligned with your own clarity, A reminder that emotional maturity isn't loud and it doesn't need an audience. It shows itself in the moments when you choose understanding instead of judgment, when you allow life to unfold without forcing every outcome, and when you let your calm presence speak louder than any argument ever could. When did you begin realizing that silence can sometimes say more than explanation? For a long time, many people believe they must prove who they are through words, through reactions, through constant effort to be understood. But something shifts when you grow into deeper self-awareness. You begin realizing that the people who are meant to understand you will feel your sincerity without needing every detail explained. And those who are committed to misunderstanding you will continue doing so, no matter how clearly you speak. And once you see that truth clearly, a quiet relief begins to settle into your life. You stop chasing validation that was never meant to sustain you. You stop overextending your emotional energy into places where it keeps dissolving without return. And most importantly, you begin protecting the calm space that is slowly forming within your heart. This doesn't mean life suddenly becomes easy. There will still be days when old emotions try to return, moments when the familiar urge to react rises up before you even notice it happening. Growth doesn't erase your past patterns overnight. Instead, it gives you the awareness to see them clearly, and that awareness creates a choice that didn't exist before. A choice to pause, a choice to breathe, a choice to respond in a way that reflects who you are becoming rather than who you used to be. And each time you make that choice, something inside you grows stronger in the quietest possible way. Not the kind of strength that demands attention, but the kind that allows you to walk through life with a steady heart, knowing that you no longer need to prove your worth through constant emotional battles. And maybe as you sit with that realization, you begin to understand why this message feels different from anything you've heard before. Because it isn't telling you to become someone extraordinary. It's reminding you that the most meaningful transformation often looks ordinary from the outside. It looks like someone choosing calm where they once chose conflict, someone choosing patience where they once rushed to react, someone choosing peace again and again, even when the world around them continues moving at a louder pace. And perhaps the most beautiful part of this journey is that it doesn't ask you to arrive at some final version of yourself. It simply asks you to keep noticing, to keep listening to that quiet awareness inside you, to keep allowing the old versions of yourself to soften and fade, not with judgment, but with gratitude for the role they once played in helping you reach this moment, where you can finally sit with your own heart in a way that feels honest, steady, and gently at peace. And when you reach a place like that, something subtle begins to change in the way you move through the world. You no longer feel the same pressure to hurry through your own emotions or to resolve every discomfort immediately, because you've started to understand that growth doesn't always arrive through sudden breakthroughs. More often it comes through quiet realizations that unfold over time, like layers of understanding slowly revealing themselves as you learn to sit with your thoughts without rushing to escape them. There was a time when you may have believed that strength meant always having the right answer, always knowing how to respond, always finding a way to maintain control over how others perceived you. But somewhere along this path, that idea began to soften. You started realizing that true strength often looks like uncertainty handled with patience, like emotions felt fully without needing to turn them into reactions that ripple outward into the lives of others. And that realization changes something deep within you, because when you stop treating every emotion as a problem to solve, you begin to see them as signals instead. Signals pointing toward parts of yourself that are asking to be understood rather than suppressed, acknowledged rather than avoided. Anger becomes a doorway to boundaries you never realized you needed. Sadness becomes a quiet invitation to rest in places where you once pushed yourself too hard. And even moments of confusion begin to feel less threatening because you understand that clarity often grows from sitting with questions long enough for their deeper meaning to reveal itself. This is the kind of transformation that rarely receives attention. From the outside, your life might appear almost the same. You still move through ordinary days, still encounter ordinary conversations, still face moments that test your patience and resilience. But internally, something fundamental has shifted. the storms that once took over your entire inner world now pass through more gently because you've learned how to stand within them without becoming them. That awareness brings a different kind of confidence. Not the loud confidence that seeks approval, but the quiet confidence that comes from knowing you can trust your own emotional compass. Even when situations feel uncertain, even when other people's reactions seem unpredictable, there is a calm understanding inside you that reminds you that your peace does not have to depend on controlling everything around you. And perhaps that's one of the most meaningful parts of emotional growth. You stop trying to win every moment. You stop trying to fix every misunderstanding. You stop trying to prove that your intentions were pure or that your heart was in the right place. Instead, you begin allowing your life to speak through your presence, through the way you respond with patience, where you once reacted with urgency, through the way you listen more deeply than before, through the way your energy carries a steadiness that others may not even realize they're feeling. When did you begin realizing that calm can be more powerful than explanation? For many people, that understanding takes years to arrive. It comes after countless situations where words failed to create the understanding you hoped for, after moments where defending yourself only created more noise instead of clarity. And eventually you discover that peace isn't found in convincing everyone to see you correctly. Peace is found in knowing who you are even when others do not. This doesn't mean you close your heart or withdraw from the world. In fact, the opposite often happens. When you are no longer constantly protecting yourself from misunderstanding, you become more open, more compassionate, more capable of seeing the emotional journeys of others without feeling responsible for carrying them. You learn how to care without overextending, how to support without losing yourself, how to stay present without absorbing every emotion around you. And that balance is something many people spend their whole lives searching for. It's the balance between feeling deeply and remaining grounded, between offering kindness and maintaining boundaries, between understanding others and still honoring the quiet wisdom forming inside your own heart. There may still be moments when the old version of you tries to reappear, moments when frustration rises quickly, or when the urge to defend yourself feels almost automatic. But now, instead of being swept away by those impulses, you notice them. You recognize their familiar shape, the way they once guided your actions without question. And in that moment of recognition, you pause. Not because you're suppressing who you are, but because you're giving yourself the space to choose who you want to be now. That pause is where your growth lives. It's where the old patterns lose their authority over you. It's where awareness gently replaces reaction. And each time you allow that pause to exist, even for a few seconds, you reinforce the quiet truth that has been unfolding within you all along. That transformation doesn't always look like becoming someone entirely new. Sometimes it looks like remembering the calm, thoughtful, grounded person you are always capable of being, and finally allowing that version of yourself to step forward without fear, without urgency, without needing the world to confirm that you're on the right path. And once you begin living from that place, life starts to feel different in ways that are difficult to explain to someone who hasn't experienced it yet. The same situations still appear, the same types of conversations still happen, and people around you may still behave in the ways they always have, but something inside you no longer reacts the way it once did. It's almost as if the volume of the outside world has been gently lowered, allowing you to hear your own inner clarity more clearly than before. There is a quiet peace that forms when you stop needing every moment to validate who you are. You begin realizing that your worth was never meant to be negotiated through constant explanation or proven through endless emotional effort. The more aware you become of this, the more natural it feels to step back from the patterns that once kept you exhausted. Not with resentment, not with anger, but with a calm understanding that some versions of yourself were simply meant to guide you to the awareness you hold now. When you look back, you may even notice how much energy the old version of you carried. The need to respond quickly, the need to correct misunderstandings, the need to keep peace by overextending yourself emotionally. At the time, those habits may have felt necessary, maybe even responsible, because they were the ways you learned to navigate the world and protect your relationships. But growth has a quiet way of showing you that not every burden you carried was actually yours to hold. And when that realization settles into your heart, something soft begins to happen. You stop blaming yourself for things that were never within your control. You stop replaying conversations long after they've ended. You stop feeling responsible for emotions that belong to someone else's journey. Instead, you begin offering yourself the same patience and understanding that you once gave so freely to others. That shift alone can feel like a deep breath after years of holding tension you didn't even realize was there. When did you start realizing that letting go doesn't mean losing something, it means returning to yourself? Because in many ways, that's what this entire process has been about. Not becoming someone entirely different, but releasing the layers of reaction, expectation, and emotional weight that slowly covered the quieter truth of who you've always been. Underneath those layers was a person capable of deep awareness, a person who could feel emotions without becoming trapped inside them, a person who could move through life with steadiness instead of constant defense. And now that you've begun rediscovering that version of yourself, something inside you recognizes it as familiar. Not new, not foreign, but deeply known, as if you're remembering a part of your nature that had been waiting patiently for you to return. There will still be moments when the world feels loud again. Moments when someone misunderstands you. Moments when situations stir emotions you thought you had already moved beyond. But now you meet those moments differently. Instead of immediately reacting, you observe. Instead of assuming you must fix the situation, you allow space. Instead of feeling pulled into every emotional current around you, you stay rooted in the quiet center that has been growing within you. And slowly, the more you live this way, the more natural it becomes. Peace stops feeling like something fragile that must be protected from every disturbance. It begins to feel like something stable, something that exists beneath the surface of daily events. Something that remains even when life becomes uncertain or complex. This is the kind of strength that doesn't need recognition. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't ask for approval. It simply lives quietly inside the way you breathe through difficult moments, inside the way you choose understanding when frustration would have once taken over, inside the way your presence carries a calm steadiness that others may not even realize they are sensing. And perhaps this is what those quiet words were always pointing toward. Not a declaration meant to separate you from anyone else. Not a message meant to elevate you above the people around you. But a gentle reminder that your journey was always guiding you toward a deeper awareness of your own heart. An awareness that helps you move through life with more patience, more compassion, and more honesty than before. Because the real transformation was never about becoming louder or more certain. It was about becoming quieter inside. Quieter in the way you listen to your emotions, quieter in the way you respond to life, quieter in the way you allow things to unfold without forcing every answer. And in that quiet, something meaningful continues to grow, something steady, something grounded, something that no longer depends on the outside world to tell you who you are, because the understanding has already begun forming gently within you, like a calm voice that doesn't rush, doesn't demand, and doesn't disappear. It simply remains there, patient and clear, reminding you that the person you are becoming is not defined by the battles you fight, but by the peace you learn to carry, even when it. And the longer you walk with that kind of peace, the more you begin to understand something that once seemed difficult to accept, that not everyone will recognize the change happening inside you. Some people only know the version of you that reacted quickly, the version that explained everything, the version that tried to keep harmony even when it cost you your own inner balance. When that version slowly fades, it can confuse those who were comfortable with the old patterns, because your quiet no longer feeds the expectations they once had of you. But growth was never meant to keep you trapped in old roles. Sometimes growth simply means allowing yourself to step out of patterns that were built during times when you didn't yet understand your own emotional needs. It means realizing that maturity isn't about suppressing your feelings or pretending you're unaffected by life. It's about learning how to hold those feelings with awareness so they don't control the direction of your actions. This is why the change inside you feels so different now, Before, emotions often moved quickly through you, turning into reactions before you had time to fully understand what you were feeling. Now there is space where urgency used to live. Space to notice the emotion before it becomes a response. Space to ask yourself what the moment actually requires from you instead of automatically repeating the patterns you learned long ago. And in that space, something gentle but powerful begins to form. A sense of inner steadiness. It's not the kind of steadiness that comes from always being certain or always feeling strong. It's the steadiness that grows from knowing you can face your emotions honestly without letting them carry you somewhere you don't truly want to go. When did you start trusting that quiet steadiness? Maybe it happened during a moment when you expected yourself to react one way, but instead you surprised yourself with calm. Maybe someone said something that would have once stayed in your mind for hours, and yet this time you noticed the words, felt the emotion they carried, and then allowed them to pass without letting them define your entire day. Those small moments matter more than you might realize, because every time you respond with awareness instead of impulse, you are gently teaching your mind and heart a new way of existing. A way that isn't built on constant defense or emotional exhaustion, but on understanding, patience, and a quiet respect for your own inner balance. And slowly, those moments begin to reshape the way you experience the world. You start noticing beauty in places that once felt ordinary. Silence becomes comforting instead of uncomfortable. Being alone with your thoughts becomes a space of reflection rather than something you feel the need to escape. This doesn't mean you've withdrawn from life. It means you've learned how to be present with it in a deeper way. When you no longer spend so much energy reacting, explaining, or carrying emotional burdens that were never meant to be yours, you begin to see life more clearly. Conversations become more meaningful because you're actually listening instead of preparing your response. Relationships become more balanced because you're no longer trying to hold everything together by yourself. And perhaps most importantly, your relationship with yourself becomes gentler. You stop criticizing every mistake. You stop holding yourself to impossible expectations. You begin treating your own growth with patience, understanding that becoming more aware is a process that unfolds over time. There may still be days when you feel uncertain, days when the path ahead seems quiet and undefined. But even those moments carry a different energy now, because instead of fearing the unknown, you're learning how to trust the pace of your own evolution. When did you begin realizing that you don't have to rush your becoming? For so long, the world may have taught you that growth should look dramatic, that change should arrive with clear milestones and visible transformation. But the kind of growth you're experiencing now doesn't announce itself like that. It moves slowly, it moves quietly, and often it reveals itself through the simple realization that you are no longer the person you once were. Not because you forced yourself to change, but because awareness naturally reshaped the way you see things. And the more you allow that awareness to guide you, the more your life begins to align with a quieter kind of strength. A strength that doesn't depend on control, doesn't rely on constant validation, and doesn't require you to prove your worth through endless effort. Instead, it lives in the way you carry yourself, in the calm tone of your voice when others expect frustration, in the patience you show during moments that once would have overwhelmed you, in the understanding that some situations do not need resolution in order for you to move forward with peace. And maybe this is what those quiet words were always meant to remind you, that the transformation happening inside you is real, even if it isn't dramatic, that the peace you are learning to protect is meaningful, even if others don't fully understand it, that the person you are becoming is not defined by how loudly you claim your growth, but by how gently you allow it to guide the way you move through your days. Because the deepest changes in a person's life rarely happen in front of an audience. They happen in quiet moments of awareness, moments when you pause long enough to recognize that something inside you has shifted, that the old reactions no longer feel like home, and that somewhere within the calm space you have been slowly creating, a wiser, steadier version of yourself has already begun to take root. And the beautiful thing about this kind of growth is that it doesn't ask you to become perfect. It simply asks you to stay aware, to keep noticing the quiet changes inside your heart, and to trust that every moment of patience, every moment of calm, every moment where you choose peace instead of reaction is gently shaping the person you are becoming. Even when the progress feels invisible, even when the world around you continues moving in the same hurried ways, something meaningful is still unfolding within you. So if lately you felt quieter than before, a little more reflective, a little less interested in proving things to people who once demanded your energy, that may not be distance or withdrawal. It may simply be the natural result of someone who has started listening to their own inner clarity more carefully than the noise around them. And maybe that's the message that was always meant for you, not a loud declaration, not a dramatic turning point. Just a quiet understanding that the peace growing inside you is real, and the version of you learning to protect that peace is already closer to who you were meant to become than you may even realize right now. If this message met you at the right moment, you're warmly invited to subscribe to Born into Light and gently like this video so more people who are quietly growing can find these words too. And as you continue on your path, may you carry this quiet reminder with you that the peace forming inside you is guiding you exactly where you need to go.